The 2 Series Gran Coupe is BMW's idea of what a small, stylised premium sports saloon should be. This second generation F74 version is a little sharper looking, a little sharper to drive, and quite a lot more sophisticated inside.
BMW's 2 Series Gran Coupe is a compact, style-conscious four-door coupe that gets a bit more sophisticated in this second generation form. Small saloons don't sell well here. In fact, they don't sell at all unless they come with a premium badge. But Audi made the concept work with their conventional A3 saloon of 2013 before Mercedes developed it further shortly after pioneering the idea of a car of this kind as a four-door coupe with their CLA. Both those models progressed onto second generation form and forced to respond by creating what would in effect be a saloon version of their 1 Series hatch. BMW followed the CLA style-conscious route with their contender, the original 2 Series Gran Coupe, which was launched in 2021. That first F44 design proved to be somewhat divisive in its looks, and some were disappointed that it adopted the front-driven platform of the 1 Series rather than the rear-driven format of the 2 Series Coupe. With the second generation F74 era 2 Series Gran Coupe we look at here, BMW hasn't changed the engineering very much, but most other areas of this design have received a thorough revamp, including the styling, which the Munich maker hopes is now a lot easier on the eye. To take a closer look though, you'll need the usual comprehensive car and driving road test. As with the original version of this model, this 2 Series Gran Coupe is, according to BMW, supposed to appeal to emotional, extrovert people looking for an alternative to a traditional saloon. Or, if you want us to read between the lines for you, people who ordinarily wouldn't necessarily prioritise the purchase of a BMW, but might well like this one. As before, the drive dynamics here are no different to those of a 1 Series, but as with that hatch, they have been lately sharpened in ways we'll get to in a minute. The engine choices, they're much the same as those of the 1 Series 2, kicking off with the 48-volt mild hybrid 1.5-litre 3-cylinder model, the one we're trying here, the 220, which offers 170 horsepower and is the variant that most will choose. It makes 62 in 7.9 seconds en route to 143 miles an hour, and that's quite as fast as you really need to go in this kind of car. If that's not fast enough, then you'll be directed to the mid-range 223 X-Drive, which uses a 4-cylinder unit, also with 48-volt mild hybrid tech, and puts out 218 horsepower. That variant's considerably more rapid, dispatching 62 in just 6.4 seconds en route to 155 miles an hour. As the model name suggests, it includes all-wheel drive for extra traction too. Four-wheel drive comes with the flagship Model 2, the M235 X-Drive, which uses a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbo petrol unit that does without any electrified tech and delivers fractionally less power and torque than the previous generation version, but still puts out 300 horsepower. Its top variant makes 62 in 4.9 seconds and is electronically limited at 155 miles an hour. All 2 Series Gran Coupes now have to have automatic transmission. This is a redesigned 7-speed Steptronic dual-clutch auto setup, complete with a boost pedal that gives the driver an extra burst of overtaking acceleration. That includes the top M235, which used to have an 8-speed torque converter automatic. We found this box quick to change up, but somewhat slow to change down. If you are wondering about other engines, well, diesels and other petrol units are available in other markets, but we're unlikely to see them here. Obviously, that M235 is the version for enthusiastic drivers, hence the fake speaker-enhanced engine note, which we actually rather like. The top model gains an extra strut in the engine compartment, which is optional on the 220, with larger tyres and an increase in the camber offset of the front wheels too, to improve handling. The shock absorbers have been retuned to reduce body roll, and the wheel slip limiter and the braking system have also been revised. In addition, sharper sport steering and lowered suspension come with that top model, the latter pitching the car 8mm closer to the tarmac. As we've said, here we've stuck with the Volume 220 variant, which, as we said earlier, benefits from a range of engineering changes which are supposed to make this F74 era design more driver orientated. It has the same primarily front-driven UK L2 platform as before, but a more rigid version of it. Plus there are optimised kinematics, highly preloaded anti-roll bar mounts and a refined stability control system. BMW has also increased the caster of the front wheels by 20%, ensuring particularly stable directional stability and optimised steering feedback. The brand seems to have put some effort into refinement too, because this F74 model seems a little quieter than its predecessor at cruising speeds. The suspension has been thoroughly tweaked. BMW calls it adaptive, which isn't quite true. All 2 Series Gran Coupes feature passive suspension, but it's of the frequency selective kind that we saw first on the 3 Series. This doesn't allow the driver to alter ride comfort. Instead, the damper valving reacts differently to high and low frequency road surface inputs. Now you need this because due to the fact that only sport suspension is available across the range, this car does remain somewhat firm of ride, and that might not be welcome on your suburban morning commute, so we'd suggest you try it before you buy it. That's one thing that'll be familiar to an owner of a previous generation model. The other is a grippy, confident sense of purpose, which rivals just can't match, complete with precise, accurate steering. And all of this is helped by an engineering balance that gets within a fraction of achieving perfect 50-50 front to rear weight distribution. For drive settings, BMW provides what it calls My Modes, some of which, like Sport and Efficient, affect drive response, and some of which, like Personal, Expressive, Relax, Digital Art and so on, are more about screen colours and screen graphics, which does remind you that ultimately this car is as much a fashion statement as a BMW. Can it really be both? Well, that's really up to you to decide. Not everyone liked the look of the original version of this car. Even BMW now calls the styling of that earlier F44 model polarizing, and they've tried to make this F74 replacement more widely appealing and sportier. It's certainly bigger. Length has been stretched by 20 mils to 4,546 millimeters, and the car's also gained 15 mils in both height, 1,435, and width, 1,800 millimeters. Here in profile, there's a new variation of the brand's signature Hofmeister kink in the rear pillar, which now features a 2 emblem. Plus, the side skirts have been reprofiled. There's less blank metal surfacing, and you can pay extra to get this contrast roof finish in high gloss black. These 18-inch M975 light Y-spoke style bicolour alloy wheels are standard across the range, but larger 19-inch rims are available on request. On the mainstream models, you can upgrade to M Sport brakes featuring calipers with this red high gloss finish. The M235 X-Drive model, the calipers there are blue. Compared to the earlier version of this model, the front end has a wider and flatter kidney grille, which can now have an illuminated surround, and as here can be embellished with extended M high gloss shadow line elements. The nose features thinner BMW LED headlights, while lower down there's a deep front spoiler with a central pillar. At the rear, the tail lights have been redesigned, and it's from the back here that you will most easily differentiate a more standard model like this one from the top M235 X-Drive, which has an M-Quad exhaust system. The M235 also has this subtle M rear spoiler fitted to a standard model like this one. That's part of the optional M Sport Package Pro Pack. Satisfyingly sporty looking then as part of the exterior 2 Series Gran Coupe look, which has certainly evolved from this model's predecessor and is quite different to its 1 Series donor model. Let's take a look inside though. Promisingly, the door shuts with a thunk that you don't normally get from a frameless design of this sort, but look around, and it's soon clear that those 1 Series genes are really a lot more evident here in the cabin, where the two cars pretty much share everything. There are a few detailed differences over the hatch, such as the avant-garde silver slashed panels at either end of the dashboard and the different positioning of the door handles and of the window controls. But apart from that, this F74 model gets a pretty standard version of the Munich maker's latest cockpit for compact cars, with the twin screens of the BMW Live Cockpit Plus setup. Look around and it all feels pretty premium, with even mainstream variants featuring heated sports seats trimmed in black M Alcantara and Veganza upholstery. Plus there's illuminated aluminium hexacube interior trim with classy ambient lighting and an anthracite headliner. The tricolour M stitching on the passenger side of the dashboard is a lovely touch too, and there's also a satisfyingly thick rimmed but rather oversized M steering wheel with large gear shift paddles. Through this wheel you view the redesigned 10.25-inch instrument screen. You vary its layout via the content options you access using this little cogs controller on the right-hand steering wheel spoke, an M screen, journey data, an assisted view, a route planner, a map screen, a G meter and a media radio screen. The same cogs controller allows you to vary the layout of the redesigned head-up display. There are standard, assisted, sport and curve ahead view options. Now, if you happen to own the old F44 model, you'll notice this new 10.7-inch central infotainment screen. Unfortunately, you can no longer access that via the convenient lower iDrive controller, but BMW has added quick select, on-screen shortcut functions and improved the incorporated personal assistant voice control system. There are media, phone and nav options along this monitor's right-hand frame, and the home screen that's divided into the usual customizable widget sections. Here we've got mapping with smaller widget sections for media and for destination input. You can scroll up and down with these smaller widget sections to also view things like trip data, weather reports and an analog clock. The little apps icon along the bottom edge of the display, that will connect you into rows of little icons which, depending on the options boxes that you've ticked when you bought the car, can include some of BMW's choicest big car features like Wi-Fi, video, a drive recorder, Alexa functionality and a whole range of Air console games. Plus you can buy more features from the incorporated Connected Drive store. Cabin storage space is just about acceptable. There's a lidded compartment between the seats, a reasonable glove box and reasonable door bins. You will find twin USB-C ports and a 12-volt socket by the cup holders. There's a charging mat at the bottom of the centre stack with a tray just above it, and there are ticket clips in the sun visors. You might hope that the exterior size changes of this F74 era design would improve rear seat space a bit over the first generation version of this model. That is, however, a bit of a vain hope because the 20mm length increase is down to different bumpers rather than a wheelbase increase. Thanks to the small door opening and the narrow windows, it still remains pretty difficult to get a child seat or something like that in the back here, and you still have to dip your head a bit to get in. Once inside, it's immediately obvious that the spatial differences with this second generation model aren't all that great. You are better off back here than you would be in a 1 Series hatch though. And to be honest, really, legroom isn't that much different to what you get in a 3 Series saloon. And it is much less of a coal hole back here than it used to be with the old car. And that's helped by these large rear quarter-light windows here. Adding in the optional panoramic glass roof, that would obviously improve things even further. Wouldn't do a great deal for headroom though. That is already quite restricted for taller folk. Knee room is aided by these heavily scalloped front seat backs, which don't actually feature pockets, but the high centre tunnel there means that there'll almost certainly be only two of you seated back here anyway. Above that tunnel you'll find twin USB-C ports and twin vents, and BMW provides overhead reading lights, a central armrest with cup holders and reasonably sized door bins. Let's finish with a look out back, where the boot lid rises to reveal a disappointingly small 360 litre space, which is 70 litres down on the first generation 2 Series Gran Coupe and 45 litres down on the rival Mercedes CLA. Now, this shortfall is almost entirely due to the mild hybrid system, which sits beneath the boot floor on this volume 220 variant and its 223 mid-range counterpart. The top M235 variant lacks MHEV tech and therefore can offer up to 430 litres of boot space. That is in theory 50 litres more than the equivalent M135 hatch, but that capacity wouldn't be as useful in the real world because of this narrow boot opening, of course. There is a deep underfloor compartment with a hinged cover, although only because no kind of spare wheel is offered here. There's a slim recess on the right here. There's a bag hook too on the right and a warning triangle in the inner boot lid. The unpainted boot roof, that's illuminated, and it features release catches for the flexible 40-20-40 split backrest. At the time of this test in summer 2025, BMW was asking from just under £36,000 for the 220 Gran Coupe we have here, which comes only with M Sport trim, as does the mid-range 223 X-Drive variant, which costs from just around £39,000 as we filmed. At the time of this review, the top 2 Series Gran Coupe, the M235 X-Drive, was pitched from just under £46,000. As we filmed, we didn't have pricing yet for this BMW's closest rival, the hybrid version of Mercedes' third generation CLA, which has the advantage of being also available in full EV form. The only other really credible premium badged small sedan rival is Audi's A3 Saloon, although that's not really a four-door coupe in the way that this BMW tries to be. For reference though, as we filmed, the closest A3 Saloon model to this 170 horsepower Gran Coupe 220, which is the 150 PS A3 35 TFSI S-Tronic with S-Line trim, costs almost the same as BMW's asking here. If that's enough to convince you to spend your money this Munich maker's way, then you'll be pleased to find that the Bavarian brand provides a high level of standard equipment. With a 220 or 223 M Sport model outside, that includes 18-inch M975 light Y-spoke style bi-colour alloy wheels, M high gloss black shadowline exterior trim, M Sport exterior styling, BMW LED headlights, an alarm system and parking assistant all-round parking sensors. Standard drive stuff includes automatic transmission with change paddles, adaptive M suspension, My Mode drive settings and cruise control with a braking function. Inside, standard equipment includes a 10.25-inch instrument display, an M leather steering wheel, front heated sports seats, black M Alcantara and Veganza upholstery, automatic air conditioning, illuminated aluminium hexacube interior trim, ambient lighting and an anthracite headliner. Media connectivity, now that comes via a BMW Live Cockpit Plus package, which as well as the digital instrument panel there gives you a 10.7-inch central control display for the infotainment. Built-in operating system 9 MediaTek includes BMW Maps navigation, the brand's intelligent personal assistant voice control setup, there's Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, there's a Wi-Fi interface, remote software upgrades and 4G LTE connectivity. Plus, there's also a 6-speaker audio system which includes a 100-watt amplifier. The top M235 X-Drive flagship variant does of course have its own bespoke spec. Key highlights here include an M-Quad exhaust system, rear M spoiler in body colour, sun protection glass and M Sport brakes with blue calipers. What if you want to spend more on this car, as most 2 Series Gran Coupe customers do? Well, the optional technology pack adds wireless charging, comfort access, logo projection from the exterior mirrors, also a frameless automatically dimming interior mirror, and there's also adaptive LED headlights. The Technology Plus plaque includes all that, plus upgrades the cabin to the BMW Live Cockpit Professional package. That gives you a head-up display and BMW's Parking Assistant Plus system. Luxury options include a panoramic glass roof and an uprated Harman Kardon hi-fi system, which features an output of 205 watts and comprises 12 speakers featuring illuminated logos and integrated behind stainless steel panels. The test car here also has a few other extras you might want: some protection glass, powered front seats, a heated steering wheel too, and you might also want a panoramic glass roof added in. In terms of visual appeal, we've got two further key options fitted here: a contrasting finish for the roof in high gloss black, and the optional M Sport Package Pro, which adds extended M high gloss shadowline elements to the BMW kidney grille. Plus, with this pack, you get an M rear spoiler and M Sport brakes with a red high gloss finish. Plus, on the M235 xDrive, M Sport front seats. You can also add either active front seats, which adapt side support to the turns, or front M Sport seats. A tow bar is available too, as are larger 19-inch wheels. Do bear in mind though, unless you choose the only standard paint colour, and that's solid alpine white, then you are going to be paying your dealer more for your choice of paint shade. We have a Thunder Night finish here. Onto safety, as well as all the usual airbags, standard active guard camera features include the driving assistant package with front collision warning, lane departure warning too. There's also exit warning and traffic sign recognition, as well as the brand's parking assistant with reversing assistant. Now, most of the rather more sophisticated camera safety features, though, tend to cost extra. A few of them are in the Driving Assistant Plus pack, which is £700 more, but most of them end up in the Driving Assistant Professional pack, and that's £1,700 more. BMW isn't developing any more combustion engines, but it's doing its best to improve efficiency on the fossil fuel units it does already have. The 3-cylinder 48-volt mild hybrid 1.5 litre petrol engine used by this 220 model is of the latest generation of BMW Group modular engines and delivers up to 53.5 miles per gallon on the combined cycle and up to 120 grams per kilometre of CO2 emissions. As usual with mild hybrid tech, there is a tiny battery which stores energy from the regenerative braking. That is then used, of course, to aid acceleration and to run the engine stop-start system. The 223 xDrive returns up to 53.6 mpg and 133 grams per kilometre, and the M235 xDrive records up to 37.7 mpg and up to 170 grams per kilometre of CO2. Across the range, efficiency is also aided by coasting and auto start-stop functions. Now, they take their cue from the data supplied by the navigation system, the front-mounted camera too, and the sensors for the optional driving assistance systems. The coasting function that decouples the powertrain from the transmission at cruising speeds. So, onto the warranty package. BMW's warranty only lasts for 3 years, but it does include an emergency breakdown service, and at least it isn't mileage limited, unlike the comparable package that you'd get as standard with a rival Audi. You can, of course, extend that warranty with either monthly or annual payments. There's a 3-year paintwork warranty too, and the usual 12-year anti-corrosion guarantee. Small saloons used to sell to quite elderly clientele, so what BMW's achieved with the 2 Series Gran Coupe model line is impressive. This car has the lowest customer age of any BMW, a trend that this sharper looking S74 generation design should further encourage. Far-reaching as the changes are, though, we still can't imagine that they make you want a 2 Series Gran Coupe if you didn't want one already. But if Munich's idea of what a small 4-door coupe should be appeals to you, then this car will please you even more than its slightly controversial predecessor. The styling changes are subjective, but you can't argue the merits of the much improved cabin and the stylish interior finishing. Some, though, will continue to think that the 1 Series hatch that this car is based on makes more sense, or if you really want a boot instead of a tailgate, we can't help thinking that a late, low-mileage 3 Series saloon might be a better bet. That 3 Series might be a bit easier to live with too. Despite the clever frequency selective damping, we still think this car's ride's a bit over firm. But the Gran Coupe will sell on pavement presence, and for the kind of person who wants one, that'll make all the difference in the world.